Pentrex's coverage of Amtrak's Northeast Corridor continues as we examine the line from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. Before leaving Philadelphia, we'll take an exclusive tour through Amtrak's CETC Center. CTEC is a computer-assisted state-of-the-art dispatching system that controls the entire 110-mile route to Washington, D.C. At Trackside, our cameras capture over 100 Amtrak and commuter train run-bys between Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. Coverage includes locations such as Eddystone, Pennsylvania, Wilmington, Delaware, Perryville, Havre De Grace, Aberdeen and Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and many others. On this portion of the railroad, trains reach their highest sustained speeds. For the most part, trains travel through rural countryside on what many feel is the most scenic part of the route between New York and Washington. Metroliner trains in the Northeast Corridor are allowed top speeds of 125 miles per hour between New York City and Washington, D.C. Other Amtrak trains are allowed speeds between 90 and 110 miles per hour. The Northeast Corridor was once owned by the Pennsylvania Railroad. The railroad rebuilt its New York to Washington main line in the 1930s, electrifying the line in the process. Where once the famous Pennsy GG1 electric locomotive reigned supreme in the Northeast Corridor, the AEM-7 is now king. AEM-7s now routinely attain speeds of 125 miles per hour in the corridor. Amtrak retired the last GG1s in the early 1980s. Washington, D.C. is an interesting terminal in which to watch Northeast Corridor trains. The constant parade of Amtrak trains is made even more interesting by frequent marked commuter trains. Washington Metro trains race by the terminal area on their own tracks, adding to the activity through this area. You'll experience a smorgasbord of trains and motive power at this busy terminal. Hardly a minute goes by without at least one or more trains making a move through the interlocking at the terminal. We'll visit busy K Tower, which controls the terminal trackage at Washington Union Station. A crew of 4 is kept hopping to keep the trains moving during the morning and afternoon commute rush.
Want a printer?
The newly refurbished Washington Union Station is a centerpiece in the Washington transportation system. Retail stores now share space inside the revitalized station and retail center. The highlight of this tape is a ride in the cab of AEM-7 locomotive number 923. It's at the head of Metroliner train 103 as it races from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania toward Washington, D.C. The train reaches speeds of 125 miles per hour as it speeds west. You won't want to miss this exciting look at Amtrak's finest, the Northeast Corridor from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. Visit Pentrex on the World Wide Web at www.pentrex.com.